Back in May of 2019, we were quite excited because we were going for a foreign trip to Germany. The excitement was pretty huge because this is something that is a lifelong dream for us to visit abroad, especially the European nations. And there are a lot many things that you come across for the first time, and it's very much different from the one when you are traveling locally, like domestically in India. One of the major problems is the meals. If you're veg, then there won't be much options for you available. Even if it's veg, it won't be to your liking because sometimes they cut the vegetables, spread it across the plate, put the pepper over it, and they'll call it a meal. If you're happy with it, then you're fine, but I'm quite sure you won't be happy with it, and there's no reason you'll be gratified because we, the Indians who search for the lentils, then the rice, the bread, sabji with the spices, all the time, don't find a reason to call it a veg meal. So someone recommended me to go for the ready-to-eat packages where you have with rice and other vegetables in a sealed packet. You can just warm and it's fine to go. So I started searching for it. Since it's not a very fast-moving article, a very fast-moving item, you won't find it in the required quantity in a single place. You might have to visit multiple malls. So I did so, and I kept collecting my family members were quite had reservations about this. Why you're grabbing so much of packets? Are you sure this much will be needed? Why can't we carry our raw materials like rice and lentils and maybe cook over there? I said, okay, grab them, there's no problem, but I'm going to grab this packets and maybe in the excess as compared to the number of days, and I collected many of them. And I think it was a rough calculation that we might be consuming around 2 packets a day. It was a rough calculation probably. We had kept so many cookies and rusk and other candies and chocolates to just ensure we have got something to eat in between the day roaming. When we got there and started using the oven and the gas, and since it's the working is quite difficult, it's quite different from what we have there, so sometimes we are not successful. It kept boiling for around half an hour or hour, still our dish was not ready. So at the time the only savior was ready to eat, and this was the only thing that kept us walking and had those tastes alive even during the time when there was large gaps between when we are not getting those Indian meals. Once we checked into one of the restaurants, and it cost around 1200 1400 rupees for 2 dosa. That was day one, and I decided that outside is not the area where we would like to have our meals. If unnecessarily, I'd like to shoot up my budget. But trust me, the ready-to-eat meal helped us so much. My father was uh, quite delighted with it that you took a great decision. Where would we have been? And there's so many options because when you are in a hotel, you might not get the ovens which you have the independence and liberty to use in while you're in Airbnb. At two locations, we had the A&O hostels in Frankfurt as well as Salzburg, and then Salzburg. So in these places there was no ovens or induction cooker available. So what we did was there was always a water line which is warm. So we used to start the tap and put the packet over there, the ready-to-eat packet, and it used to keep it warm and make it to the condition where it's ready to be eaten, true to its name. And it was, it did its purpose, and I'm kind of satisfied that I took such a decision to go over on the extra side and take a cushion. When we returned, those packets were not left, but there were many other things which were left, still left unconsumed. But I think it's always a wise decision when you go outside or maybe to some places about which you're not so sure whether you'll be able to get those meals or not. It's always advisable to put in some extra things. Maybe if maybe it's I mean making you feel like you're carrying some extra cargo, but it's always a wise decision because those extra cargo may cost you very much on the other side. So always take margin, I mean healthy margin and analytical wise margin, and it will save you in many of the situations. Save you from one of the worst conditions. You never know, your flight might get cancelled and you might be forced to survive. And imagine spending so much revenue every day which you hadn't anticipated for your trip. So these kind of things help you in such unforeseen circumstances. So I think I made my point, Dan. That's all from my side today. There you go. Bye. Take care.